Hello and welcome. So it's that time of the year again where I look at various catalogues from companies or whoever that I normally buy products from and who are normally associated with my channel in some form. And now, with only 2 weeks left, 2 weekends left before Christmas, before the mad rush begins and all the rest of it, I thought I'd show you the Forge World catalogue 2015. Straight away, it's got this this model that I've just forgotten the name of. It'll come back to me, and we'll just have a look at all the rest of the items and products in here. Now, I must say before we go on, Forge World is expensive. If you thought Games Workshop was kind of niche and not for everybody and everything like that, if you kind of balked at £25 for 10 models, or even three, £50 for 3 models. If you kind of balked at that, well, I'll just warn you, you may well have a similar kind of reaction to Forge World, because Forge World are owned by Games Workshop. It always used to only be Games Workshop, and then Games Workshop started a little sub company called Forge World that dealt mainly in resin. And at first they were kind of like the test bed for some of their models and things, and they kind of rose to fame really when they brought out Resin Baneblade and Resin Titan and a Resin Morlock for Tyranids, and they've always been one that has done models similar to Games Workshop, but a lot of the time on a bigger, grander and way more expensive scale. It gives Games Workshop the freedom of sticking by their very quick release schedule and bulk manufacturing all of their main products, all their box sets and things. It gives them that freedom, but at the same time it means that Forge World can concentrate on singular projects and game series and things like that. And they brought up the Horus Heresy and all the rest of that, Forge World did, and they kind of built on the success of that, and Horus Heresy in 30k has become quite popular, and they're constantly making newer and newer models. So that's just a little kind of backstory of Forge World if you didn't already know what they are. Now, their books are expensive. Their normal kind of Imperial Armour books are about £59–60. So there you go, Imperial Armour, Siege of Rax, £59 there. Yeah, they used to do volumes, like Volume 1, Volume 2 and all the rest of it. And I used to get a volume every year. £59, £6 wasn't too bad for the whole year. But because Games Workshop's rules keep refreshing and evolving and changing all the time, Forge World seem to, do that now as well. They kind of are forced to make those changes. I'm probably going to talk a lot in this one. But the Horus Heresy books are very expensive. They're £74 each. I think on the web store they were 75 at one point or something like that. They are really nice though. Really nice leather bound, lovely pages with your page keepers, silver kind of corner covers. They are really lovely books with lovely rich backstory, excellent photos and pictures and you name it. And yeah, there are some rules thrown in there. But because you're getting so much extra fluff and things like that, it's not too bad if the rules do get kind of replaced after a while. It's not too much of a big deal. And now, which is excellent, they brought out these extra red books separately, which aren't too much, like the Mechanicum one, £31, or you can get the Legion Astartes, basically the 30k Space Marine book, we would call it, for £30, so it doesn't break the bank too much, but there you go. So we're going to the models. So, that's what it was called, right? Yeah, it's called a Mars Pattern Warlord Titan. So you got the body there for £900, then you got the head for 60, 85, carapace laser blasters 110, and the Apocalypse missile launchers for 100. Odd that it doesn't show the cost with everything included. I would have thought they put it just there for everything, but maybe they didn't want to I don't know. In my eyes, if I was the first person looking at this, I would think price £900. I just think that's for the whole thing, because you've got to picture the whole thing. Mars Pattern Reaver Titan, that's now £450, and then you've got to buy the weapons separately, and they're normally £57 each. I remember when you could buy the whole thing with 2 weapons of choice for, I think it was about 500 or something like that. But anyway, so you got Titans, then you got some Warhound Titans. They only do the Mars pattern now, of both of them. They don't do Lucius, they got rid of that. More people were buying Mars. In my eyes, I just thought that more people were buying Mars because they were newer, and there were more people getting into the hobby and more people knowing about Titans. That's one of the reasons. That's just my opinion anyway. And you get an upgrade kit. Astra Militarum, who are we kidding? It's just Imperial Guard, guys. So you got all their resin tanks. Some of them are a bit, they're cheaper than they were, I'll tell you that. And I can't see a Bane blade there anywhere, which is sad because that was one of their first models that they really made a lot of money on, I would have thought. Then you got some Death Corps of Krieg, heavy weapons teams. You can get one of those for £20 each. You get some Death Riders, they're £15 each. Cost you a fair bit to get a nice unit of 20 of them. You got some more tanks and artillery positions. I think these would just look good on a battlefield anyway, as like scenery. But £73 is quite expensive for just one gun for each scenery. I like the assault vehicles. They look a little bit like Halo kind of inspired. Or vice versa, who knows. Then you've got some Imperial Navy, you've got all these strike fighters. I really like the Voss pattern, although the Avenger I think is better. Like better armour. It's odd, isn't it? But there you go. Inquisition, like Solomon there, who just looks like he's from Assassin's Creed or something. Then you've got some Adepta Sororitas. It's just Sisters Battle, guys. And then Space Marines, so Space Marine aircraft. Personally, myself, this year, redoing the Warhound, building a Reaver and building a Warlord, it's all been about, and finishing off my Knights, it's been about ground forces. Next year, 2016, is the year of aircraft for Super Saiyan, for his Warhammer. Alright, so just give you a heads up on that. So I am, at the moment, looking at all of these options. It will be Sod's Law that I'll get a Thunderhawk, and then a plastic one will come out a week later from GW for 200 quid. It's Sod's Law that'll probably happen. We've got some tanks. Spartan, it used to be about £90 within a year or so. It's gone up by 10-15 quid, which is just crazy. Again, with the Storm Eagle, I think that was about 80 something. That's gone up by over 10%, I'm sure. I don't know why all these are. Then you got all the different doors, things like that. Space Marine, you've got your different tanks there. Then you've got Contemptors. Everybody's going to be buying the plastic ones now, especially when they're £30 without the weapons. And then you add the weapons, which are, let's say, a tenner each. You're looking at £54. It's no wonder people are buying the £80 Betrayal at Calth set when you get one of these in there now. You get these. These are all pretty cool because I like the command sets, because you've got different marks of armour for the command sets. I love Mark III armour. That's my favourite. 4's nice as well, but yeah, I do like them. And then you got some individual characters, and you got all these upgrades and weapons and things you can get. I mean, £20, 20 quid for a load of sets of weapons. It's almost like the reverse of Games Workshop, in that you bought plastic box sets and you had a load of parts spare, and people used to sell them on eBay or wherever. And now it's almost like Games Workshop are trolling you, because they're now selling you all their parts, if that makes sense, for £20 or something like that. So yeah, that's how I see it anyway. I know people would see it differently. And then here we go, you got your 5 Space Marines for £24, like I said earlier. or you've got some there that are £34 for 5, and so on. And you get some more Horus Heresy, the different Terminators. So you've got the Tartarus, and then you've got the Cataphractii, and then you've got some more Legions, and then finally you've got the characters. Now I did see a bundle for all of the characters, I think all of them, £600. I think you saved 20 quid, but there we go. Which ones would I like to get? Well, I'd like to get all of them, to be fair, but I haven't even got one yet. I mean, I'd like to get Horus, but his price seems to be going up every year too. At this rate, it'll be £100 by next year, I'm sure. Yeah, you've got more characters, even more characters here. You've got different Heresy armour sets, more, and there's going to be more next year with Space Wolves and Blood Angels, of course. And you got some more, and you got some tanks. I really like the Horus Heresy tanks. I really like the Fellblade and the Falchion. And then you got some more Contemptors there. Some more vehicles. I like the Sakaran battle tank, £76. I don't think that's too expensive. I like the Basilisks, but I think that they are quite expensive, really, for what you get. And yeah, the Charybdis Assault Claw, £154. Crazy. And then you got some Knights, some Imperial Knights, and there's split division on these, whether they're too tall, whether they're too lanky. I mean, they are fast Knights at the end of the day. My opinion is still split on them. I do think that they're too tall. I get that they're fast. I get that. I really do. And they are meant to be hunting other Titans. I don't know. Maybe when we start seeing more Titans from other races, like more Orcs, more Tyranids, more Eldar. Well, there are Eldar specifically at the moment, but you know what I'm saying? When we start seeing more Titans for other races, these taller ones will look more in place. But as it stands, we've just got these and the normal ones, and they do look a little bit out of place. Mechanicum. I said before I'd love to create a Mechanicum army, but at £40 per model, it can get expensive very quickly. And then you've got like Thanatars, which are awesome looking. But for me, if it comes down to it, if it's between a Night Titan and a Thanatar, I go for the Night Titan, I'm afraid, at the moment. But I would like a Mechanicum army at some point. Solar Auxilia, basically Imperial Guard for Earth, I think. I think that's it. Then you've got a lovely Stormhammer, really nice model. Lots of guns. And Chaos. You haven't really got an awful lot for Chaos, but you've got a Decimator there. Still think that's a really cool model. And the Brass Scorpion. And Chaos Knight. Yeah, I don't think there's that much difference. I do like all the spiky bits and things, but there we go. And I love the Engine of Khorne. It's much better model than that stupid Chaos Engine of War, whatever it was called. I like the fighters, they're okay. Some Renegades, some Necrons. I love these Canoptex. I love the bomber, Shroud Bomber, massive. And they now do these tiny sentry pylons. They're not tiny, are they? But £50 each. They're not too expensive, and for a bit of scenery, 50 quid. You could have a couple of them on a table. That's not that bad, is it? Eldar, they're still pushing the Phantom Titan. It used to be about £350, something like that, and then you bought the weapons separately, which were about £40-ish, £40-50. Now it's gone up. You're talking at about £500 now, which is a huge amount for something that doesn't have much resin at all. It's very thin. You can say, yeah, all the pieces are very delicate and whatnot, but I'd like to see the number of miscasts and things. But you're talking about £500 now, which is very expensive for something like that. Same as the Eldar Revenant Titan. I remember when you could get them for £150. They're an absolute bargain. You can now get Wraith Knights for £70. So one of these is more than 2 Wraith Knights. Yeah. Even though they are good, they're overpriced now, in my opinion. Overpriced, 200 over £200 now. I like the Eldar avatar there. He's a good model. More Eldar trickery. So you've got the Scorpion, still a lovely model. I'm really chuffed that they did a second model of that. And then they did the Cobra Type 2 as well. And the Lynx is quite nice. Orcs, they really need some love, Forge World, they really do. Yeah, they've got okay kind of crusher tanks and things. And I love the cute little grot tanks. I think they're awesome. They're awesome. But £66 for 4 little tanks is, yeah. And the Squig Off is still there, stomping around. You got the Chinook Warcopter. And you got Knob Bikers as well, and the Orc War Boss, £42. Yeah, it's quite expensive nowadays. Then Tau, you've got the Tau XV109, which is the Tau Supremacy Armour Body, or the Ta Unar. I know people call it the Taunar, but the Supremacy Armour. It's a nice looking kit. Must say that ankles are a bit weak, but that kind of fits in line with all their other armour. And the Tau Manta there now, it's now gone past £1,000. If you weren't watching before, it was 900 and something, and it's now gone over 1,000. So they're now charging more. Tyranids, I love the Machiron. I'd love to get one of them, but I've got a funny feeling they're going to release something similar to that in plastic next year for Tyranids. Biotitan needs some love. We need a bigger one or a slightly different one. And I really like the tiles, I really do. But again, they've gone up in price. £125 just for one tile. Yeah, it's very nicely detailed and things, but for £50 more you can buy another 5 tiles and then make your own scenery. So yeah, I don't know. I think their tiles are really nice and really excellent centerpieces to put a load of models on and things, but we'll see. I mean, that Castellum is approaching £100 now. Yeah. So that's the Realm of Battle, and they've got these Zone Mortalis tiles. Yeah, they're one by one tiles, and then you got these, which is the Age of Sigmar. I do like that Colossal Squig. It's pretty cool looking. I like the models, just if you weren't ever going to use them, just as like little models to paint. I think they're pretty cool. And some more. And then you got their paints as well. So the paints will set you back £3.75 each. There's been a couple of people talking about those prices because they're £1.20 more than like GW paints, and people don't recommend GW paints all that much either, but each to their own. I'm sure they're quite good paints, but yeah, quite expensive. And the model class books are pretty decent too. I might pick up one of those in a short time. So there you go. That's their 2015 catalogue. Yeah, their products are expensive. There's no hiding that. And a lot of the time, most of the time, you do get what you pay for, and they're going to last a long time. But like GW, their prices are constantly going up. So my best advice really is try and buy everything that you can now, and buy things when they come out, like within a year or so, because they ain't never going down, and they're always going up. So that's my best advice. But hopefully there's one or two things in there for everybody. Or what have you asked for Christmas, or what are you planning to buy yourself for Christmas? That's my real question to you. Obviously I'll be cracking on with my my Warlord over Christmas. No rush though. I'm taking the long way around. I'm building it and painting it. I want it to be the centrepiece of my house and everything, so I'll be spending a long time on that. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.